They spoke your name like a warning, not out of respect, but out of fear, disguised as you stood in that room, unaware that the walls had already chosen sides. Their laughter was soft, rehearsed, coated in the kind of poison that doesn't kill instantly. It erodes you slowly. Every compliment they once gave now sounds like mockery replaying in your head. You remember the warmth of their smiles, the illusion of trust, the way you thought loyalty was mutual. But tonight, you see the truth under the fluorescent light. It's colder here, sharper. Their words cut deeper because they're dressed in reason, and you stand there realizing the trial's already over. Verdict: guilty for daring to believe you were one of them. You don't explode. You don't shout. That would have given them something to feed on. Instead, you stay still, like a statue carved out of disappointment. Every heartbeat sounds like a hammer forging something new inside your chest. They think they've broken you, but all they've done is strip you down to what's real. No noise, no mask, just you and the silence that follows betrayal. You look at them, the so-called allies, the ones you built with your hands, your time, your faith. You see it now. They never wanted your strength. They wanted your obedience. You were never one of them. You were a threat disguised as a friend, and threats get removed early. Their voices blur, fading into static. You stop hearing words and start reading intention. The way their eyes shift, the hesitation in their smiles, the way they avoid meeting your gaze. You've seen this before. In history, in scripture, in war, Judas always kisses before he leaves. Caesar always bleeds among friends. The betrayal wasn't personal. It was practical. You grew too fast, you spoke too loud, you cared too much about things they only pretended to value. They couldn't destroy your work, so they tried to destroy your name. That's how the weak handle the strong. You walk out without looking back, because looking back means you still expect an apology, still expect sense in a world built on self-interest. The air outside hits like freedom and punishment at once. The streets are empty, but they echo with clarity. Everything that held you together, approval, trust, comfort, has been burned away. All that's left is the raw material of transformation, pain. It's pure, unfiltered. It doesn't lie. It doesn't flatter. It just carves you open until you either bleed out or rebuild stronger. Somewhere in that silence you feel it, the shift. You understand why betrayal is sacred in every ancient story. It's the knife that awakens the god with the crucifix before resurrection, the exile before empire. They thought they ended you, but they only performed your initiation. You smile, not out of joy, but understanding. Let them talk. Let them celebrate. Their noise will fade. Your silence will echo. Because you're not broken, you're just becoming something they'll never recognize. They stop calling. One by one, their names faded from your phone like ghosts deleting themselves. The world didn't explode, it just went quiet. And that silence was louder than betrayal. You woke up every morning with the same question echoing in your skull. What did I do wrong? But there was no answer, just the hum of a world that had decided you no longer. The same hands that once clapped for you now scrolled past your name without hesitation. You were no longer you, and usefulness was the only language they ever spoke. You tried to stay composed, pretending it didn't matter. But at night, when the lights dimmed and the masks slipped, it hit you. How fragile connection really is. One team. How affection, loyalty, friendship, all of it was just conditional applause. You learned that the hard way. You stopped talking. Your laughter became mechanical. You found comfort in isolation because at least solitude didn't lie. Days blurred and meals lost taste. Even the mirror avoided you. You stopped checking messages because you already knew there were none. You started scrolling through memories instead. Old photos, old texts, old promises. Every smile in those pictures now looked like a warning sign you'd ignored. You'd been loyal to illusions. And now those illusions were feeding on your silence. Sleep abandoned you first, then hope. You began to see the truth carved in shadow. People love the version of you that benefits. Once you stop feeding their comfort, they turn. That realization broke something in you, but it also cleared the fog. You weren't a victim of betrayal. You were a casualty of misplaced faith. You had mistaken familiarity for loyalty, proximity for respect, attention for care. You started walking at night, in the rain, because at least the sky didn't pretend. The cold was honest. The streets didn't ask how you were. They just echoed your footsteps like a heartbeat refused to die. And maybe that's what terrified you the most. You were still alive, still breathing when you shouldn't be, still carrying pain that should have killed you. There's something ancient about that kind of something dangerous. You began noticing small things, the sound of your own breathing, the rhythm of your pulse. Survival stripped you down to the essentials. You didn't care about winning anymore. You just wanted to endure. And in that endurance, a strange power started whispering. You realized that pain, when accepted instead of avoided, transforms into clarity. That rejection, when studied instead of resisted, reveals a map. You began to see the world as it is, not as it pretends to. That's when it dawned on you. This wasn't your downfall. It was your purification. The fire had taken everything false, leaving behind something raw, something incorruptible. No friends, no validation, no applause, just you, stripped of illusion. Alone, yes, but awake. And the world doesn't fear your pain, it fears what you'll become once you understand it. You stand in front of the mirror, not to fix yourself, but to confront the crime scene. The reflection staring back isn't human, it's the ghost of every version of you that sold peace for approval. The eyes are colder now, emptier, yet more awake. That you realize the mirror has never lied. It's just been waiting to stop lying to yourself. Every scar tells a story of when you begged to be understood instead of feared. Every dark circle, a receipt for loyalty you gave too freely. This is the night you stop pretending you didn't know what you were capable of. You whisper, "Who are you?" The silence answers, "Who you've always been." The mirror becomes a courtroom, and you, the witness, the judge, and the executioner. You replay every betrayal, not with pain this time, but analysis. You study patterns, angles, motives. You start to see that every knife they used came from your own kitchen. You sharpened them with trust, handed them over with love, and stood still when they... It's brutal, yes, but so is truth when it finally stops apologizing. Your reflection shifts, the same face, but something behind the eyes changes. No longer pleading, just calculating. You finally admit it. You are broken. You were buried. Under expectations, under softness, under the noise of people who feared your silence. Now the soil cracks. You remember the ancient law no one speaks about anymore? Rebirth requires a burial, death before so you let the old you die here, under the mirror's indifferent stare. You don't flinch, you don't cry. You watch the body fall quietly inside your mind. For a moment, the air feels heavier, like the room knows a deal has been made. The weak version of you, the one that sought mercy, is gone. What's left is lean, deliberate, precise. You trace your jawline, the veins, the pulse that refused to quit. The world may have starved you of validation, but it fed you something far more dangerous: hunger. You see it now. Every time they dismissed you, the silence was training you. Every betrayal was building an immunity. You weren't abandoned, you were being refined. You lean closer. The mirror no longer reflects your face, it reflects intent. The kind that doesn't need revenge because existence itself is now a threat. You realize the world's worst mistake wasn't hurting you. It was underestimating your recovery. You've seen what people do when they smell weakness. You've seen what they worship when they strength. So you stop explaining. You stop hoping. You start moving like a storm that doesn't announce it. The mirror becomes your altar. You look once more at your reflection, and this time you nod. Not in pride, but in understanding. You've made peace with the monster you became to survive. You've made peace with the silence that shaped you. The reflection smirks, not out of joy, but recognition. You turn away knowing one truth that hums beneath your skin. You were never meant to be liked. You were meant to be remembered. You wake before the sun because silence is the only voice that never lies. The world is still asleep, dreaming of comfort, while you sharpen your will in the dark. The floor is cold, the air unmoved, yet you rise. Not because motivation whispers, but because pain already taught you what happens if you don't. Every step, every repetition is a rebellion against who you... There's no applause here, no audience, just you. The echo of your breath, and the ghost of the person who once begged for easier. You used to crave noise, validation, approval, belonging. Now you fear it, because you've learned that silence is the forge of all power. You work when no one's watching, because they already did, and laughed. You remember their words when your hands shake. You remember their doubt when the exhaustion claws their spine. You remember the betrayal when your lungs scream, and you smile, not because it's easy, but because it's... Every insult is a calorie burned, every rejection a weight lifted, every scar another symbol carved into the armor you're building beneath your skin. You've stopped chasing purpose. You've started creating it. There's something ancient about this phase, the grind. It's the oldest ritual known to humankind. The breaking of the body to awaken the spirit, the purification through repetition, the death of comfort to summon control. You've begun to see what others can't. That pain isn't your enemy, it's your priest. It baptizes in failure until you rise unrecognizable. Sweat becomes scripture. Solitude becomes sanctuary. You're not training your body, you're training your silence to carry weight. Outside, the world scrolls, gossips, forgets. Inside, you evolve. They chase trends, but you chase mastery. They measure progress in likes, you measure it in scars. The grind becomes a mirror, and it reflects something terrifying back. potential without mercy. You don't fantasize about success anymore, you dissect it. You study it like a predator studies prey. Precision replaces passion. Discipline becomes obsession. You no longer run toward goals. You drag them behind you, chained and conquered. Some nights the darkness presses closer. Doubt knocks again. But now you welcome it in. You let it sit across from you, eye to eye, until it blinks first. Because you've learned what few ever do. That strength is not loud. It's quiet. It's built in repetition, in nights that bleed into mornings, in choices no one will ever praise you. They thought you were gone. They thought you broke. But every night you disappeared, you were only building. Every second they forgot you, you were memorizing the map out of hell. You've become something dangerous, a creature of silence, forged in humiliation, refined by obsession. You've turned your suffering into strategy. And one day soon, when the world finally looks your way again, it won't recognize. It will sense something colder, smarter, unforgiving. Because the grind never ends. It just changes its weapon. You start to change quietly. Not with fanfare, not with applause, just movement. The kind no one notices until it's too late. Every morning, the air feels colder, sharper, like it's testing your lungs to see if you still deserve to breathe. You move differently. There's precision in your steps, control in your silence. The world still thinks you're broken, but they don't understand. You were never broken, only reforged. What they buried wasn't a corpse, it was a seed. The pain that once drowned you has turned molten. It flows through your veins, burns away hesitation, hardens everything it touches. You stopped asking why they betrayed you. The answer doesn't matter anymore. The betrayal itself was the forge. Every night they laughed, every whisper behind your back, every door that closed in your face. It all became metal under heat. Now you wield it like a blade. They wanted to see you lose control. Instead, you became control itself. You train when no one's watching. You work when no one asks. You've learned to love the hunger, the ache, the long hours and silence. It's not suffering any, it's sculpting. You used to crave comfort, now you fear it. Comfort dulls the edges you spend years carving. You understand something ancient now. Comfort kills kings long before the enemy does. The fire inside you doesn't just burn, it purifies. Every weakness turns to ash before it can touch your mind. You stopped explaining yourself. You stop proving anything. You realize power doesn't speak, it emanates. Every scar on your hands is a language. Every sleepless night, a chapter of scripture. You become your own mythology, written in sweat and bone. They said you'd fade away quietly, but you learned how to weaponize quiet. Silence became your rebellion. You let the world think you're still healing, while in reality you're building something too sharp to name. And now, when they see you, they flinch. They can't explain it, but they feel it, the difference. The weight in your stare, the stillness in your voice. You no longer chase what's yours. You attract it, command it without words. The same people who dismissed you now study you like a threat they can't decode. They thought time would soften you. It didn't. It turned you into something time can't touch. The fire doesn't roar anymore, it hums. It no longer consumes you, it serves you. You've learned to hold it in your palms without getting burned. That's the final stage of transformation, control. You don't destroy everything around you, you simply radiate heat until the weak fall away. You are not reborn. You were never gone. You've just remembered what you were always meant to become, something ungoverned, unbroken, and unforgettable. The storm they feared would kill you has learned to kneel. They see you, but not the same you. The version that once begged for understanding, the one who waited for callbacks and apologies, is gone. What stands before them now is silence wrapped in precision. You speak less, but everything around you speaks for you. They glance twice when you enter a room, not because of what you say, but because of what your absence costs them. You learn something they never will. Real power doesn't demand attention, it absorbs it. The ones who betrayed you think it was personal. They still whisper in circles, still cling to the fantasy that they knew you. But you don't belong to that past anymore. You burned it, quietly, methodically. Every failure became a forge, every rejection, a blueprint. Every time they said you were finished, you built another layer beneath their noise. Now, they can't read. You've become fluent in the language of restraint, where every pause carries threat, and every look feels like prophecy. You return with nothing to prove. That's what unsettles them most. They expect bitterness, but you bring indifference. They expect revenge, but you bring success laced with silence. You've learned that the deadliest form of dominance isn't confrontation, it's composure. You no longer chase validation, you manufacture it. The same mouths that mocked you now twist your name into reverence. They don't understand. They want to know how you did it. You won't tell them. You let their curiosity rot in respect. The air shifts when you enter. You used to flinch at that energy. Now you command it. Every scar they left became architect. You move like someone who no longer fears loss because you've already lost everything that didn't matter. You turned your pain into currency, your loneliness into leverage. They think success is about being seen. You know it's about being untouchable. They look for the old softness in your eyes, but it's gone, replaced by something colder, ancient. You've learned what few dare to. Mercy has limits, but silence doesn't. You don't need to shout to make the ground tremble. You let your results speak in frequencies only the guilty can hear. And when they ask what changed, you answer with the truth no one wants to face. Everything. Now, they look at you the way prey studies a predator, calculating distance, searching for escape routes that no longer exist. You aren't angry, you're aware. You understand that vengeance isn't fire, it's frost. It's the moment they realize you no longer care whether they burn or freeze. You've outgrown the need to destroy them. You've already done that by surviving. And as they watch you walk past, calm, sharp, unreachable, they finally see what they created, a ghost of their betrayal, a mirror of their fear, a reminder that the quiet one always returned differently. They said you'd disappear. They said the silence would swallow you. But silence became your ally, your altar, your weapon. You learned that real power doesn't scream, it wait. It burns quietly beneath the surface until the ground itself starts to tremble. The world forgot you for a while, and in that forgetting, you were reborn. Not in noise, but in stillness. Not in validation, but in vengeance disguised as evolution. They used to call your name like a warning. Now they whisper it like a prayer they're too afraid to. You move differently. There's no rush, no desperation in your step. Every decision feels surgical, deliberate. You've turned the same silence that once broke you into a throne no one can touch. You're not chasing victory anymore, you embody it. You don't fight for respect, it arrives before you. That's what terrifies them the most. They can't understand how someone who was supposed to shatter became the storm that doesn't make a sound. You don't talk about the nights you couldn't sleep, or the mornings when your own reflection felt like a stranger. You don't explain the rituals of discipline, the countless times you swallowed the urge to quit, because explanations are for those still begging to be understood. You move past that. Power doesn't negotiate, it simply exists. You used to bleed for others' approval, now you bleed only for purpose, and it shows. The eyes that once looked down on you now look away, because they see something they can't categorize, something unbreakable. They say you've changed. They're right. You've become what they fear most, someone who no longer needs anything from them. No applause, no validation, no witness. You built your life like a fortress, stone by stone, scar by scar. Every betrayal became a brick, every rejection a sealant. Now, when they come near, they can feel the weight of their own words echoing back through your silence. You don't need revenge. Your existence is proof enough. You wear calmness like armor now. The chaos that once consumed you has become the quiet rhythm of your control. You see through people before they even speak. You hear intent behind every compliment. You move through the world like a shadow that remembers its fire, and those who once laughed at your pain now study your composure, trying to decode the alchemy that turns suffering into strategy. The truth is, they interviewed everyone you ever met. They pieced together your story, trying to find the weakness, the reason you survived when others would have broken. But all they found was silence, and that silence said everything. Because silence means you no longer need to defend yourself. You've already won. You're not angry, you're not loud, you're not chasing anything. You've become the thing they can't destroy. Someone who mastered their darkness and walked out wearing it like a crown.